Stop. If you're trying to manifest using quantum principles, you're probably doing the one thing that's blocking everything. I'm serious. This misconception has destroyed more manifestations than anything else. And the worst part, everyone teaches it. YouTube gurus teach it. Books teach it. Books teach it. Courses teach it. But it's wrong. Dead wrong. And in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to expose this lie, show you why it's keeping you stuck, and give you the real quantum truth that actually works. This isn't clickbait. This is the difference between manifesting and staying frustrated forever. Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about this massive, pervasive, and incredibly damaging lie that's taken over the entire manifestation community. It's a lie that sounds so logical, feels so right, and is repeated so often that questioning it feels like heresy. It's become the unquestioned gospel of modern spiritual and quantum manifestation teachings. But what if I told you that this central pillar, this foundational belief, is not only incorrect, but that actual real-world quantum physics proves it's completely backwards? This isn't a matter of spiritual opinion. It's a fundamental misreading of the science that's supposed to be the bedrock of this entire philosophy. And the damage this lie is causing is immense. Millions of people are diligently, faithfully, and passionately practicing techniques that are, according to the very principles they're trying to harness, manifesting the exact opposite of what they desire. They're reinforcing lack, solidifying struggle, and deepening the very state they want to escape from, all while believing they're doing the work. They feel the frustration, they see the lack of results, and they inevitably turn that blame inward. They think they're not spiritual enough, not positive enough, not dedicated enough to the law of attraction. They spiral into self-doubt, thinking the problem is their vibration, their worthiness, their ability to believe. It's a cruel, self-perpetuating cycle of effort and disappointment. And I know this cycle intimately because I lived in it for years. I read every book, I followed every guru, I visualized with fervor. I chanted affirmations until I was blue in the face, and I meticulously tried to police every single thought, every single emotion. And you know what I got? More of the same, more financial strain, more relationship drama, more feeling like I was somehow broken, that the universe had a special vendetta against me while it showered blessings on everyone else. I was doing the thing, the big thing everyone said to do, and it was leading me nowhere. But then I stumbled upon a different interpretation, one not filtered through the lens of pop psychology and feel-good spirituality, but one rooted in a clearer, more rigorous understanding of quantum theory and consciousness studies, and it flipped everything on its head. The pieces finally clicked. The reason for my struggle wasn't me, it was the instruction manual. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what this catastrophic misconception is, why it's so seductive and yet so destructive, and most importantly, you will learn the corrected framework. You'll see how true quantum manifestation isn't about forceful mental gymnastics, but about a specific, profound, and surprisingly simple shift in your relationship with consciousness itself. This is the key that unlocked everything for me, and it's the key that's missing from almost every conversation about the law of attraction and reality creation today. The misconception is so huge, so central, that it's almost invisible. It's the water we're all swimming in, and it boils down to this. The entire modern manifestation community has become obsessed with the idea of control. Control your thoughts, control your feelings, control your vibration, control your focus, control the universe. So, it's all presented as a grand project of mental and emotional management, where you are the stern CEO of your inner world, tasked with firing negative thoughts and hiring positive ones. The message is, if you want to manifest your dream life, you must first manufacture, internally, the exact state of someone who already has it. You must feel abundant to attract abundance. You must feel love to attract love. You must feel healthy to attract health. On the surface, this sounds perfectly reasonable, even noble. It sounds like taking responsibility. But this is where the fatal error occurs. This approach, which I call the state-forcing model, completely inverts the actual quantum and psychological process of creation. It puts the cart miles ahead of the horse. You are told to create the feeling inside by sheer willpower in order to then attract the matching circumstance outside. You are told to act as if. And when you can't sustain that feeling because you're looking at your bank account or your lonely apartment, you conclude you have failed, The model is built on a premise of lack. You lack the feeling, so you must generate it to get the thing. But quantum reality doesn't work from lack. But it works from wholeness. The misconception is that consciousness is a tool for controlling reality. The truth is that consciousness is the very substance of reality, and you are not its controller. You are a localized point of awareness within it. Trying to control it is like a wave in the ocean, trying to control the tide. The wave is the tide. This control-based mindset is the poison pill in modern quantum manifestation teachings. It turns a natural flowing process of alignment into a stressful, exhausting job of self-manipulation. It makes you the opponent of your own present moment experience, at war with your current feelings and thoughts, which are seen as enemies to your desired future. This inner war generates a powerful, coherent signal of resistance and conflict, which is exactly what the quantum field then mirrors back to you. You are quite literally practicing the art of manifesting struggle. You are using the principles of focused consciousness to solidify the very state you wish to leave behind. This is the heartbreaking, widespread error. People are trying to use their mind as a hammer to force reality into shape, when the real function of consciousness in the quantum model is more like a radio tuner, allowing a frequency to be experienced. The effort to control is the very static that drowns out the signal. This didn't come from nowhere. To understand why we got so derailed, we have to look at how this idea of forceful, control-based manifestation hijacked the real science. The law of attraction, as it's popularly taught, took a few legitimate quantum concepts, like the observer effect, and the idea that particles exist in a state of probability until measured, and wrapped them in a package of 19th century New Thought and 20th century positive thinking. It created a kind of spiritual consumerism. Think the right thoughts, get the right goodies. The observer effect in quantum physics is profound. In experiments like the double slit, it was shown that the act of observation, of measurement, seems to collapse a wave of possibilities into a single, definite particle. Pop manifestation teachings ran with this and said, "See, your attention determines reality, so pay attention only to what you want." But this is a dramatic oversimplification. It turned the subtle, mysterious role of the observer into a blunt instrument of control. It ignored the deeper implication that the observer and the observed are not separate. The scientist with the measuring device is part of the quantum system. In the same way, you are not separate from the reality you are experiencing. You are intimately entangled with it. The second hijacked concept is energy and vibration. Quantum physics does describe a universe of vibrating energy fields. The manifestation community translated this into vibrational frequency and said you must raise your vibration to match your desires. Again, this sounds right, but the misconception is that you raise your vibration by pretending, by slapping a happy face sticker over your genuine fear or sadness. This is inauthentic, and the universe, or more accurately, your own deeper consciousness, responds to authenticity, to the integrated signal you are actually broadcasting, not the one you're desperately performing. The forced positivity creates a split, a superficial layer of high vibration masking a subterranean river of anxious effort. That split is a low vibrational state, a state of internal conflict. So the science was taken, stripped of its most crucial context, non-separation and wholeness, and turned into a self-help regimen of mental domination. It became a philosophy of ego, where the small, separate you is tasked with micromanaging the infinite. This is an impossible task, and failing at it is guaranteed. That's why so many people feel like quantum manifestation is a constant battle they're losing. It's because the core instruction is flawed. The real quantum insight isn't about the power of the individual mind to boss reality around. It's about the indivisible unity of consciousness and reality, and how your state of being, when it is authentic and allowed, naturally organizes the probability field around you. We took a beautiful, unifying science and used it to build a new prison of self-improvement. Let's make this painfully practical. Let's expose the exact ways this control-based misconception shows up in the daily routines of someone trying to manifest. You'll recognize these instantly. The first and most obvious symptom is affirmation anxiety. You're told to repeat positive statements about your desired reality. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am successful. But as you say these words, you are acutely aware of the contrary evidence in your physical reality. A mental argument begins. One part of you chants the affirmation while a louder, more convincing part screams the opposite. "I am wealthy," says the voice. "Really? Then why is my credit card maxed out?" counters the mind. This internal debate is not a high vibrational, coherent signal. It is a signal of conflict and division. You are literally affirming two things at once, the desire and the lack of it. The quantum field, responding to the totality of your conscious focus, simply reflects back that conflicted state. You manifest more situations that feel like internal conflict, indecision, mixed messages, one step forward, two steps back scenarios. The second symptom is visualization strain. You sit down to visualize your perfect life, but it feels like hard work. You're concentrating, trying to hold the image steady, trying to pump up the positive feelings. It feels like a mental workout, not a joyful experience. The strain itself, the effort, the trying, becomes the dominant feeling. You are, in essence, visualizing the feeling of efforting. And so you manifest more situations that require efforting, that feel like an uphill struggle. The universe gives you more opportunities to work really hard. The third symptom is vibration policing. This is the most exhausting one. You start monitoring your every emotional blip. A moment of frustration arises in traffic and you panic. "Oh no, my vibration. I'm attracting more frustration." So you suppress the feeling, you fake a smile, you try to think positive. But that suppressed frustration doesn't disappear. It goes underground, adding to a reservoir of unprocessed negative emotion. This reservoir emits a low, steady hum of discontent that underpins everything you do. You are now broadcasting a layered signal, a shaky, thin top layer of manufactured positivity, and a thick, heavy under layer of repressed real emotion. That complex signal manifests a complex, confusing reality where little things seem to go right momentarily, but a background sense of unease and underlying struggle persists. The fourth symptom is blame and shame spirals. When your manifestations don't appear, the control model tells you the fault is yours. You didn't believe enough. You had a negative thought. You got discouraged, so you blame yourself. You feel shame for your failure. This shame is an incredibly powerful, low-frequency emotional state. Now, you are not just focusing on the lack of your desire, you are focusing on yourself as the cause of the lack. You start manifesting more evidence of your own inadequacy. You see failure everywhere. This is the cruel, self-fulfilling prophecy of the misconception. By trying to control your way to a new reality, you reinforce the very reality you hate, and then you blame yourself for it. It's a perfect trap. If this sounds familiar, please understand it is not your fault. You were following a broken map. You were given a recipe for cake that called for salt instead of sugar, and then told you were a bad baker when it tasted bitter. The problem is the recipe. Now, let's pivot to the solution. Let's rebuild the understanding from the ground up, based on a more accurate view of quantum principles and consciousness. The core correction is this shift from control to allowance, from forcing a state to dissolving into the state of the observer itself. The quantum observer isn't a forceful director shouting commands at particles. The observer is the context of awareness in which possibilities exist and then resolve. Your primary job in quantum manifestation is not to create the new reality. Your primary job is to become the clear, quiet, open space of awareness in which a new reality can spontaneously arise. Think of it this way. Imagine your current problematic reality, the lack, the struggle, the frustration as a pattern of ripples on the surface of a pond. The control model tells you to fight the ripples, to smooth them out with your hands, to splash in the opposite direction. This just creates more turbulence, more conflicting ripples. The allowance model asks you to do something completely different, to stop splashing, to become still, to sink below the surface tension into the deep, still water beneath all the ripples. From that depth, the surface agitation naturally settles. New, coherent patterns can form without interference. You are that deep water. Your consciousness is not the ripples, it is the water itself. The ripples are the temporary contents of consciousness, your thoughts, your feelings, your current circumstances. When you identify as the ripples, as the worried thought, as the anxious feeling, you are caught in the storm. When you remember you are the water, the vast, silent, aware space in which the storm appears, everything changes. Manifestation then ceases to be about adding something to yourself, more positivity, more belief, more control. It becomes about subtracting everything that isn't you, all the identification with the temporary content. It's about releasing the grip on the old story, the old identity of the one who lacks. This is not a passive resignation. It is the most active thing you can do, the active relaxation of egoic control. It is the act of surrendering the false identity of the manifester and resting as the consciousness that is already whole, already complete, and from which all possibilities emanate. Your desire itself is not the problem. The problem is the frantic, lacking, controlling relationship you have with that desire. The solution is to bring the desire into the stillness, not to use the desire to escape the stillness. Let the desire be a ripple that you observe with curiosity and openness without needing it to define you or save you. From that place of wholeness, the desire can reorganize the probability field around you in a harmonious, effortless way. This is the quantum correction. You don't attract what you want. You allow what you are, in your deepest, most fundamental being, to express itself through the forms of your experience. Your essential state is one of unlimited potential. Blocking that expression is the effort to be something other than what you are in this moment. Allowing it is the cessation of that effort. So, what does this look like in daily practice? How do we move from the exhausting work of state forcing to the simple, profound practice of state allowing? I'm going to give you 3 core practices that completely bypass the misconception and align you with the true quantum process. Practice number 1 is what I call conscious awareness anchoring. This is not meditation to achieve a special state. This is the simple moment-to-moment practice of noticing that you are aware. Several times a day, pause. Instead of trying to change your thoughts or feelings, just notice them. Notice the worried thought, but also notice the space in which the thought appears. Notice the anxious feeling in your stomach, but also notice the aware presence that is aware of the feeling. You are not the thought. You are the awareness of the thought. You are not the feeling. You are the awareness of the feeling. This simple shift in identification, from the content of consciousness to consciousness itself, is revolutionary. It instantly creates a gap, a space between you and the problem. In that space, the compulsive energy behind the thought or feeling begins to dissipate. You are no longer fueling it with your resistance or your identification. Do this without any goal, not to feel better, not to raise your vibration, just to notice what you truly are. This practice done consistently begins to erode the false identity of the controller and stabilizes you in your natural state as the observing field. Practice number 2 is desire surfing. When a strong desire or a strong fear about your manifestation arises, don't engage with the story. Don't argue with it, and don't try to replace it with a positive opposite. Instead, feel the raw energy of the desire or fear in your body. Where is it? Is it a tension in your chest? A flutter in your gut? Just feel the pure physical sensation without the mental narrative. Imagine you are a surfer, and this sensation is a wave of energy moving through the ocean of your awareness. You are not trying to stop the wave or control it. You are simply riding it, allowing it to be there, feeling its power without being swept away by its story. As you do this, you'll notice something amazing. The wave crests, and then it passes. The energy dissipates on its own when it's not fed by mental engagement. This process clears the channel. It removes the static of emotional charge from your desire, leaving behind the pure, quiet signal of intention. Practice number 3 is the letting go ritual. This is a deliberate, symbolic act of surrendering the controller role. At the end of your visualization or affirmation session, which you can still do, but with a new approach, consciously say to yourself, either out loud or inwardly, I release this completely. I let go of all effort to make this happen. I return to being the open space for possibilities. Then physically relax your body, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, soften your belly. This ritual signals to your entire being that the work is not yours to do. The work of arranging circumstances is the job of the unified field, of consciousness itself. Your job is to be clear, open, and aligned. This practice trains your nervous system out of the state of grasping and into the state of receiving. These 3 practices, anchoring in awareness, surfing the energy of desire, and ritualizing letting go, systematically deconstruct the control pattern and establish you in the allowing mode. This is where quantum magic begins to happen, not as a struggle, but as a flow. The transformation you'll experience when you make this shift is not just about getting stuff. It's a fundamental upgrade in your experience of life. The first change you'll notice is a profound sense of inner peace. The exhausting civil war in your mind begins to wind down. There's no more enemy to fight inside you. Your current feelings are allowed to be there, so they lose their power to threaten your manifestation project. This peace is not a passive numbness. It is a vibrant, alive stillness. It is the most attractive force in the universe. From this peace, actions you take are no longer born of desperation or lack. They are born of inspiration and clarity. You'll find yourself taking the right action effortlessly, not because you forced yourself, but because the idea rose clearly from the stillness and felt naturally compelling. Opportunities seem to appear out of the blue, but really, they are the natural emergence of probability from your coherent, non-resistant state. Synchronicities increase dramatically. You'll meet the right person, stumble upon the right information, find yourself in the right place at the right time. This is the quantum field arranging itself around your new clear signal. Your relationships transform. When you stop trying to control your own reality, you naturally stop trying to control others. You relate from a place of wholeness, not neediness. This is magnetic. And finally, your desires begin to manifest, but often in ways that are smarter, more elegant, and more fulfilling than your original, ego-driven blueprint. It's as if the universe, or your deeper self, knows a better path to the essence of what you want, which is always a feeling, not a specific form. You wanted $1 million to feel secure and free. From the state of wholeness, you might manifest a business idea that provides both, or a shift in perspective where you realize you are already secure and free, which then changes your financial behavior and attracts abundance naturally. The manifestation serves your highest being, not just your surface-level wants. This is the power of moving from the misconception of control to the truth of allowance. You stop being a beggar at the door of the universe, rattling the handle, and shouting demands. You remember you are the child of the house, already inside, already home, simply opening the windows to let the fresh air in. This is the real secret. This is the quantum truth that has been buried under a mountain of well-intentioned but misguided advice. You are not here to manifest from a place of lack. You are here to allow the infinite abundance that you already are to express itself in the world of form. Your journey now is not one of acquisition, but of remembrance. Remember what you are, and watch everything else fall gracefully, effortlessly into place.